Welcome, Drink with James, episode 91.
Cheers to 5 years.
Jenny's about to drop some. Drink with. I know what you're thinking. You're saying, James, you told me that we were going to have a special guest today, and I'm looking at your fucking ugly mug. Well, Tim, pan this way. We got Jenny from Margot and me here. We are actually drunk now. We just finished the show, but we're doing the intro. So you guys are about to embark on a journey that is an hour long, but is worth every second.
So good.
We cover everything.
So
we drink
good.
a bottle of champagne.
Why aren't you here with us right now?
Jenny, thank you. Pull up. Here's a word of advice. You guys are watching this right now. If you're listening to the podcast, pull up her feed as we're talking about it. We reference her content a lot. Pull up her blog. If you're on Drink with James, you don't have to look at us. Pull that stuff up. I think it could help as you come through. But Jenny's about to drop some knowledge. Thanks for coming. And prepare yourself. We'll start with the easy question.
Okay.
How do you end up in this chair? How did you start this thing?
That is a really great question. First of all, cheers to that. Cheers to 5 years.
5 years. That's us
5
too.
years. Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
no
started
way.
in January of 2000. Would that been 13?
13?
Yeah.
Okay, my math is off. 4 years. 14. Really loosely at 13.
Right.
It wasn't. It was
4.5 years,
Yeah.
maybe. You know.
Yeah. Well, long story short, I worked in PR for about 6 years, and I was doing press for my clients, and I was liaisoning between my European clients and like celebrity red carpet dressing. I informally used to call myself a dress trafficker
Okay.
because I would just like figure out where the dresses needed to go and get them there.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, do some really fun creative things like craft media kits for my clients or their press releases. And I was kind of in charge of building up my clients' reputation in the papers and online
Mm-hmm.
and everywhere. And it was right around that time when the conversation of digital started. And I remember the very first person, now a blogger, that I saw was Blair Eady.
Uh-huh.
And my coworker sitting next to me was like, "Oh, I used to go to college with her. Look what this girl is doing." And I was like, "What? This is wild. This is amazing." Like I remember like that moment when I realized that this was going to be massive. And I didn't even like go online to look to see if there was anybody else that was doing it. I just like knew what she was doing was smart.
Right.
And so I started a blog loosely. It was called The Style Sophisticate.
Okay.
Don't look it up. I think it was all like PhotoBucket.
Does it still like exist, you think?
It does, but like I would upload stuff on like PhotoBucket, and
Right.
now it's like all the images are gone. But
Right.
it wasn't pictures of me; it was like collages that I would do.
Yeah, yeah. That was
Anyway,
that was a thing.
that was like a
What
thing.
was that? What was that service that people used to make the like
yeah.
flat lay collages? Everyone used
Polyvore.
that. Polyvore.
Yep.
The
Polyvore.
kids don't remember.
No, they don't
Polyvore.
remember. Polyvore is like OG.
Yeah, they don't. There's people that I was like, God, I haven't heard of Polyvore in so long.
And now sometimes you see it pop up, like sometimes people will tag me in photos on Instagram and it'll be like, I'm an inspiration, and they'll like piece together the outfit, like the product image, and I'm like, whoa, that looks like Polyvore. I'm like, that's what I used to do.
Full circle.
Full circle. But I realized in that moment that I could potentially, it was a very aggressive goal and like thought when I was, that age, being like, oh, I could just create a blog and, create content for brands just like I'm doing now working in PR.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize everything that went into it,
Right.
but I started the blog very organically, and my husband's a photographer, so he started taking pictures, and we decided to go at it from more of like a strategic content creating standpoint than more of like street style, because back then it was like street style, very street style.
Yeah, that was definitely the time everything was like, Scott Schumann angle and Soho. And, street style, everything.
Yeah. But I remember thinking, sorry to interrupt, but I remember thinking that I wanted to take that concept of like the online outfit inspo, but then take what I saw in magazines, like an editorial photo, but do that for what we were creating, which is Margot Me. So we always kind of looked at it as like an elevated editorial platform compared to like what else we were seeing out there, which was more street style.
And when you're starting, I mean, 2014, we had been around for a year. There were certainly bloggers making a little bit of money. It was nothing like today. But were you thinking like, because I think if you talk to people who started in like 2010, I started my blog in 2008 or 2009.
Yeah.
It was like, there was no idea that there would ever be money involved.
No. Not like there is today.
No. But were you thinking like, ooh, I can do this and I could work with brands? Maybe less the money, but like, I want to work with brands.
It was more, because at that point on the side, because I was working with stylists daily. And so on the weekend, when I wasn't working on my desk job in PR, I was assisting stylists on the weekends. And so I wanted to build up my book.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm going to just model these clothes. And a lot of my girlfriends worked in PR. And so I was like, hey, can you loan me this dress? Let me style it for my site. And I was using my blog as a platform for like, to showcase my work so that I could go and be hired by a brand as a traditional stylist would be. So it was like, I was doing it because I knew that I wanted to build up my portfolio, but never did I know that brands would come to my site and pay me to, promote their stuff on my site. So it was like, it was very disillusioned, like how it began, and then it just turned into this whole, crazy thing.
And when was the first time that you had that moment looking at Blair Eady being like, I could maybe do this? Yeah. And then when was the moment that was like, oh shit, like, it's not going to be me, the stylist. Yeah. Like, this is going to be a thing.
Yeah. It was Coachella 2014, and I remember I was wearing this like matching like short and like bralette set from like LF.
Right.
And
we're both like such snobs. We're like,
talking
about that. Can you believe?
LF? Is it around anymore?
I don't know. If they are, please come. We'll take your money.
We love you.
Yeah, we love you.
I got my start with you. It was one of my first jobs was working retail at LF.
That's amazing.
But I was wearing this LF outfit to Coachella. I got photographed by Harper's Bazaar. Thank you.
I got you.
And then all of a sudden, like 3 months later, I get a Harper's Bazaar issue to like my doorstep. And in it is me and Katy Perry. And they didn't even like credit my name. They just used Katy Perry as like the trendsetter for the look and then how the trend was being seen on the streets. And I remember being like, whoa, like they're actually using, magazines are not just using celebrity anymore. They're starting to look to street style to inspire readers as well. So why can't we, translate that into the pages of Margot and me?
And that, I'm glad you brought it up. And it's the second time we've mentioned street style, but like when 2014, it's so interesting because like we will talk about the world today and the struggles of growing and all of that and the changing world, right?
We'll get there.
But at that time, street style, like your ability to get into a Harper's or Vogue slideshows that was like it.
You had to know the photographer.
Yeah, and like that was the goal.
Yes.
That was like it because Instagram followings weren't that big, blog followings weren't that big, but these publications had so much power.
Yes.
And what a huge shift because now I think bloggers like being able to like post that they were on Vogue slideshow, but like it doesn't mean anything.
It's different.
Really.
It's a bit different now, just because it's so oversaturated, I think. And you have people now that aren't even going to the shows, but they get dressed up to go to the shows just to be photographed. Yeah. So it's not even about going to the shows anymore when that's what it used to be. It used to be people who were going to the shows were being photographed outside of the shows and they were ending up in the slideshows. Now it's just, a lot of people kind of prancing around in front of a show, showing off their cool outfit. Right. Which, there's nothing wrong with that, but it just has changed a bit.
Well, it's interesting. I just think that, those publications just don't have the reach that influencers do anymore.
No.
It's like, I'm sure, a lot of influencers probably get more, like the Vogue.com slideshows probably aren't getting a huge amount of traffic.
No, I think it's more for clout to show, like, oh, look where I was featured.
Right.
But I think still to this day, it's all about what your own personal following is and,
Yeah. Now, I think there's a lot of people, most of the people probably watching are influencers, but there are some people who are like, I want to start a blog.
Yeah.
I don't know, do I need a big idea? You kind of had that strategy. Did
Right.
how much has that changed?
Right.
I think it's probably pretty consistent. You're still quite editorial. But
Yeah,
how
we
important was
try
that,
to be.
like, that thesis idea instead of just being like, I'm going to take pictures of myself?
Right. I think it was really, to be completely honest, it was very strategic on me and Freddie's behalf. So Freddie is my husband. And so he comes from a directorial background and really has kind of a creative eye. And we work very interestingly together because I'm kind of more of the writer, more of like the business side, strategic side, and I love the fashion side, obviously. That's like what I love wearing clothes. But he looks at what I'm wearing and he goes, oh my God, this would be amazing on 16th and blah, blah, blah. And there's a green building there. And he like visualizes. And so, for example, like when I come home after like, a day of shopping and I'll put together a bunch of looks, we'll sit down, we'll go through the rack and we'll be like, okay, we're going to shoot this here. We're going to shoot this there. It's never like, oh, let's just take the camera out. Well, I mean, sometimes it is, but it's very rarely a snap in the moment kind of thing. I mean, I've been back in New York for like a week and I'm still posting stuff from Paris because we're still editing it.
Right.
And
let me talk about that because I was just going through your feed right before you came in, and it's just like I've been to Paris a few times, and looking at your photos was like, this is a massive amount of work. Like this is like you are all over town. Yeah. Getting incredible light. You were obviously there early or in the evenings. Yeah. Because you got empty streets. Yeah. It really is like every shot is so good.
Thank you.
And having been in that town during Fashion Week, a lot of times it's like I get out of the show, not me, but let's say you get out of the show and then it's like, oh, some friends are having rosé down the street, some friends are doing this, let's do this. I'm tired, I'm cranky. Yeah. I want to go for a run. Yeah. But like the amount of work you're putting in does come off. So I think if you could talk through a bit more of that process and explain, okay, so you've got the clothes and then you start, how do you get there? Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Like the first couple days, what we do is we'll kind of like settle in. So settling consists of planning outfits and location scouting. And so like the first few days, like we won't even appear to like be where we are. I really am a bit more lax on my stories. So I'll show that I'm in Paris on my stories. And it's something that I'm very open with my readers about. I'm like, do you mind that I'm doing this? Because like, I don't want to feel like disconnected at all between my feed and my stories. But my feedback that I've been getting from everybody is that they appreciate that. So it's really encouraged me. I look to my readers all the time for encouragement whenever I feel a tinge of self-doubt in the space that we're in. It's very easy to feel that. Even, at every level, people feel it. Right. So the first few days, we'll settle in, we'll location scout, and then we'll kind of hit the ground running. And by hitting the ground running, Paris in February means you're dealing with rain. Yeah. And it's like you have to like figure out when, like, what time it's gonna be raining. Okay, the sun's gonna be out this time. We have to go here. The sun is setting in the west. The Eiffel Tower will be right behind us. We'll go there at 5. It'll be perfect. But then you get to the street and like there's 100 people there. So it's like, okay, what's plan B? Right. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it, but there's also like you have to kind of go with it, and we go with it a lot. And you can't take yourself too seriously, or you have to have fun still while you're doing it. So are you putting in this effort, right? You're location scouting, you're mapping times, Freddie's seeing where the fucking sun's gonna be. He's an astronomer.
Yeah, I call him the weatherman.
Yeah.
He's my weatherman.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And like it shows, and like I look at the feed and I'm like, this is beautiful, and like I used to shoot a little and be like, I couldn't have taken it. Like for me, it's
beautiful
like,
photos.
thank you. It's like, I don't think I could have taken that. That's fantastic. Like that is so good. Now, the problem is like that stuff isn't doing as well. Right. Right? Yeah. So like, do you struggle? Do you think, if I just took a fucking photo with my iPhone in front of the Eiffel Tower?
And it does. It performs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like,
how do you balance that? Like the like, okay. Obviously you care about the quality of your imagery. Yes. And it's something that you're passionate about. How do you balance that with your desire to be successful?
Yes. Okay. So I've always said, this has always been my mantra, is first and foremost, it is my blog. I do not run an Instagram page and then subsequently have a blog. I have a blog, and because of that, I have an Instagram. So my body of work is created for my blog. And then I share things from that on Instagram. So there, there'll be things that are, not in the moment. There'll be things that are in the moment. But I really work hard not to let myself get affected by a shot that for example, we did this project with a brand in Paris that I've been dying to work with for years, and they finally invited me to their show, and it was like a huge moment for me. And we went all out with this outfit. We went all out with the location, and we just posted the wrong time of day, and it didn't get engagement. And it's really, you have to it's so much easier said than done, but you really have to be like, no, I created this because I wanted to create it. I didn't create it because it was gonna get likes on Instagram. I don't create for that reason.
Right.
And then you just have to hope and pray that brands see past the likes. There was a very interesting conversation happening when I was in Paris where, I don't know if you've gotten wind of this, but that people are starting to talk about doing a sliding scale of payment to bloggers based on engagement. And when I was approached with that, I was shocked on so many levels, because you're not paying somebody for the amount of engagement. I'm sorry, that's not what I'm being paid for. I'm being paid for creating a piece of content. So let's rewind 10 years when a stylist would go on location to a job and pull the clothes and be there all day and dress the models and stuff. They're not paying that stylist based on how many people like her on set. They're paying her on her work.
Right.
So it was like, whoa, so all of a sudden all the work that I put into this is not being acknowledged, and I shouldn't be paid because I post at the wrong time. It's very, very interesting to see that what I always thought in my mind, oh, well, if I just create content that's beautiful and I love it, it'll continue to, I'll continue to get work. It's like, whoa, maybe that's not going to be the case anymore.
Yeah. And it might be, that might, that you might get to a place where nobody wants editorial content anymore. But the nice thing, as you said, is that you have a blog first.
Yeah.
So you always have that. And I was reading a post of yours today, and I had 61 comments. And on a blog, that's insane.
We love our readers.
Yeah, it's insane. That's something that you can take with you. It's obviously platform agnostic. Now, actually, this is a good time to take a short commercial break to say that this episode is brought to you by Veuve Clicquot Rosé. We love Veuve and La Force.
We love Veuve.
Yep, and finest champagne on God's green earth, other than our other clients, Dom Perignon, who we also love, but didn't send us a bottle. So, thank you, Veuve. It's all in the same family, LVMH.
Cheers to Veuve.
Cheers. Veuve like love, right?
Veuve like.
Very important. Moving on. Playing devil's advocate.
Yes.
The blog's the focus. Okay, that's the end game.
Yes.
So why not just have your Instagram be more in the moment iPhone shots that are going to get twice the engagement, and you're going to grow more and be able to drive more traffic to the blog then?
I have a business partner. His name is Jenny Cipoletti. We are creators together.
He's not here to take iPhone photos of you.
No, it's true though. It's tough. It's a struggle. We go back and forth about it a lot, and I feel like I'm almost shortcoming my audience by delivering a photo like that. And I've done it a few times. I'm like, this photo is blurry. It looks like shit. I hate that I'm posting it. And then it'll get 15,000 likes.
It's so frustrating.
And I'm like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
It's and I've done everything. On photos because you hear that's the timestamp or it's the location.
Right.
So I'll change the timestamp and I'll change the location and I'll be all I'll minimize the resolution.
It's some CIA shit.
I try to get around it,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work. But what's actually really worked for me, just to be completely honest, I know this sounds cheese, maybe it doesn't. I'm not plugging them, I swear, but I really go off of Iconosquare.
Yeah.
I really like Iconosquare, and I use it for my posting times.
People definitely mentioned it. I mean, we have de-emphasized posting times just because the algorithm the algorithm can.
Where are we at with the algorithm? I haven't had an update in like a week, so where are we at now? Update me.
I mean, I went on. This has been my whole week. I went on this big algorithm rant.
Oh God.
I think it's great.
What the algorithm?
Yeah.
Like where are we at with it?
Nobody knows. Anyone who tells you they know something about the algorithm is fucking lying to you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Like nobody knows. There are 10 people in the world that probably know how that algorithm works, and they're not fucking talking.
No, they're not.
So like, but I think these rumors get spread around that like, ooh, Instagram's de-emphasizing like professional photos.
Ooh, they're shadow banning hashtags.
Yeah, it's like this is not happening.
Yeah.
This is like that would be a ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is that. We're not talking algorithm yet. We can get into that later.
Okay.
But I did. Michelle.
Yes.
Michelle Taking.
Yeah,
She's great. I did her like challenge. I did the iPhone photos myself for a month.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. And?
Killed.
No.
Slayed. Like my Instagram growth was up 600%.
No.
Yeah.
Are you
it
serious?
Was crazy how well it worked.
Wait, she did an Instagram like chat. Like
no, I made it up.
Oh, you made it up. Okay.
So I was like, cool. We were challenging people because like I did this whole thing. She's like, this works for me.
Okay.
I went from like a very curated feed to just this, and it works for me. And I was like, cool. I'll do it for a month.
See what happens.
Because like I'd had this Instagram. It'd been at 20K or 19.5K for years.
Wow.
Just did not.
Plateau.
Yeah. Gain, lose, gain, lose. It worked really well. And at the end of the month, I was just like, to your point. Yeah. Just because it works doesn't mean that like it works for you. Yeah. And like it just wasn't the account I wanted to run. Oh. It's just like
cheers. I love it. Thank you. I feel a bit of validation.
And the day, this is your life. And like
I'm a creator. I'm sorry. I'm a creator. I'm not going to be sorry for that, but I'm a creator, and I didn't go into this just to be an Instagrammer. And I worship the ground that these girls like walk on. That who can do that? I really do. They are what inspires me. But like, I personally have to take a different approach just for my creative well-being. Mm-hmm. Period.
And it's just, I heard this quote once. There's this guy I know, he's a designer. He worked for Ralph Lauren. He was his head menswear designer. Okay. And he casually tells a story about Ralph Lauren, which is amazing. He's just I was talking to Ralph. Yeah. Anyways, he's like,
first name basis.
It's the 90s. Ralph Lauren is getting pulverized by Hugo Boss. Mm-hmm. Just killed. Yeah. Because Hugo Boss was black suits, black suit, white shirt, black tie. Yeah. Right? Everything dark, and Ralph Lauren was still so preppy, and it's just like
all of it.
And so this guy Sid Mashburn, who was the designer there, goes in and he's just like, we're just getting killed. Yeah. We need to what are we gonna do? How are we gonna respond to this?
Ralph was like,
and Ralph was just like, look, they're having their moment. It'll come back to us. Yes. All we can do is us. That's all we can do. And
that is literally what I say. Yeah. I say this all the time. I'm like, she's having her moment. I'm really happy for her. Bitterness is a waste of time. It's energy that could be focusing on your creativity. So many people are like, oh my God, there's so much talk, right?
Like Tezza's killing it right now. Right?
I love Tezza.
Killing it. Everyone's
she's having her moment.
She's having her moment.
I love it.
It's got to be so fun.
Yes.
But that moment will pass.
Yes.
Someone else will have a moment.
Yes.
And people might eventually just wake up and say, I'm fucking sick of seeing iPhone photos.
I don't want to see Instagram anymore, period. Bye.
Right? Hopefully not. Things have gotten dark.
Super dark.
But
the thing I always compared it to too is like, a lot of people are like, well, don't you feel like it's competition? I'm like, okay, look at it like this. The music industry, for example, there's 100 different artists out there.
Quite a few more than 100, yeah.
Bit more than that.
There are literally 100 people in the world making music today.
Hundreds of thousands of people making music. And we all tune in to different genres, different people at different times based on what our emotions are in that moment. And that's how I kind of look at content creators. I go to different people to feed different parts of me. Like, I'm like, oh, I want to feel super happy and inspired today. I'll go to Tezza's account. Yeah. I want to feel moody and dark. I'll go to Tanya Sarin's account. It's I go to visit different people for different things. And I think that different people come to me for that as well. So
What do you think they come to you for?
I don't know.
Oh, come
I'm
on,
I'm a little lost. I did a little bit of a shift in the past like year where, you know, I went from like brighter, like I feel like there was a lot of really bright photography happening, and so I wanted to shift a bit. So I did a little bit of a pivot into like more of, you know, just more mood, like a little bit more moody, and like think like vintage like French like film. That's kind of like the direction I wanted to go.
I think, you know, for me, it's like I look at your account and it's like romance, right? Like that's, and not in a cheesy way, and just like it is.
It's whimsical.
It's not real life, really, and that's what's like great about it. And I think that in this world where it's like, be relatable, like be relatable, be relatable. I love Blair Eady because she is not relatable.
Yeah.
In any way, shape,
She's
or form.
like a cartoon character.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jamie Beck, who was on the show, not relatable.
Jamie.
She's crazy.
People want escapism. I
Yeah.
like obsessed with Jamie. She is my Instagram obsession.
She is so.
I don't know whose Instagram obsession like she's not. Like I think she's everyone's Instagram
Right.
obsession.
She's
But
like the influencer. You know when they say like, oh, this is a songwriter? Like someone who's maybe not as famous, but like every songwriter loves them.
Yes, for
She's
sure.
like the influencer's influencer.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's Jamie. Cheers, Jamie. We love
Cheers.
you.
I hope
Miss
you're watching.
you.
I'll be DMing you if you're not.
So, what were we saying?
Romance.
Oh, yes. Oh, escapism.
Escapism.
So, I like to follow people where I feel like I can just like escape into this world that they've created, which is what Jamie's done very well. It's what Teza does very well. It's what a handful of other people do very, very well. And I am almost flattered that you say that I create that because it's what I try to do. I don't like giving away so much of myself. I prefer to save that for like the camera time or like being in a room with somebody and getting to know them. I'm very approachable. I like, you know, I'm good with FaceTime. Like, I'm not like a hermit that like, you know, can't like talk to anybody. Well, some people don't like talking to people.
Some influencers are not good at that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure your PR background and working in corporate, like in actual corporate jobs, like gives you a leg up there because I think some people, they don't know that when they go on a brand trip, that yes, their job is creating beautiful content. It's also crawling as far up the ass of the brand people as possible and making them feel like you just love them so much. That they're just so
But most of the time you really do love them.
Yes, most of the time they are awesome.
But most of the time they are. If they're in that job, they should be awesome.
Yeah, they should be. But like your job is also hanging out with them.
Yes.
And like making them
schmoozing.
have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where the booth comes in handy.
Yes, absolutely. But like we've run trips and some people like, you know, are like, oh, I'm not going to make it to dinner tonight.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. Well, they've been planning it for a month, so that's awesome that you're tired.
Yeah.
Like, you don't, you know, and
I've been on plenty of brand trips where this stuff has happened too.
I want to shake them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you don't get to be tired. We're paying you.
You can sleep when you die.
Yeah, like you don't get to be tired. This is your job, and it's not that hard. I mean, it's hard, but like, there's being tired because your life is awesome.
Right.
And you're so busy. And there's being tired because you worked an 18-hour shift at the coal mine. And those are two very different times.
You just took me there. That's like, there's no comparison.
But like, there is a lot of, you know, that, like complaining, oh, I'm so tired, I'm so busy. But it's like, if you're busy because your life is awesome, then like, that's a gift, right?
It
like,
is.
That's amazing. You should,
it is.
And like, you have to show up to the brand dinner.
Yes.
And, like, put the face on, like just drink an espresso beforehand.
Right. Well, nobody in I think that like we're all our own bosses, right? So unless you had a professional career before this, you aren't really in a position where you can hold yourself accountable for a lot of things. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people do, don't get me wrong, but I think that it may be easier for some people just to be like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's fine. Like, to kind of like brush it off.
Or like, I'm the talent.
Right.
And what's most important is me. And I am tired.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do this.
I think that at some point, hopefully in the near future, we'll get to a point where brands start to realize who those people are, and the content will be created by people who actually enjoy being a part of those activations.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, we're running 60 campaigns right now.
Whoa, congrats.
Thank you. It's
That's
a lot.
major.
but we as much as the content, it is professionalism.
Oh,
like
yeah.
if we have two people, and let's say scale of 1 to 100, one person's content is 80 and another's 75. 75% is more professional, answers emails, follows up, posts what they're supposed to. Like that person's getting a job. Yeah. 10 times out of 10.
100%.
You know, and so to be able to have both of those, the beautiful, amazing content, and actually be like competent,
it's
huge.
Very
it's a big leg up.
And it's going back to like what you were saying with people who are starting out, who are watching this. A lot of people watching this are bloggers, but a lot of people who are watching this are, you know, starting out. So that is like a huge takeaway from this conversation.
Where do you learn that if not in an office? Like, what is your advice to that person who, look, because you know, I met with an influencer recently. And she gained 300,000 followers in the last year. She's blowing up. But like part of the reason we did this show is because there's not a lot of information out there.
No, there's
of
like
what should you charge? How do you respond to emails?
Yes.
How do you follow up after a campaign? How do you pay your taxes? Like where did you learn? I mean, obviously you learned some of that in corporate. But
right, but a lot of it I even learned as I went. Like, I think in my early 20s, I was very eager, like very anxious to like figure out what it was that I wanted to do. And if you told me then what I would be doing now, I would have laughed. So would my dad. I sort of I didn't tell my dad what I was doing until I was actually making money, and I was like, okay, so Dad is the chair of economics at Stanford University, so he was very skeptical to this whole situation. Yeah. Now,
he's on board now?
Now he's on board.
That's good.
He's like, okay, cool, you're fine, you're cool. But I dabbled in so many things. Like like I said, I was working at a desk from 9 to 9, being paid peanuts, doing PR, being as an assistant. On the weekends, I was assisting stylists, and then in my off time, I was contributing writing to different websites. And I was just trying to like find whatever I want to do. So therefore, I was working with a lot of different kind of people. And so I think the more diversified that you can be in the experience that you have, sure, like you may be blogging, you may be successful in what you're doing, but like get an internship somewhere and see how an office space is, or you know, contribute some time to a charity and be a bit grounded and humble from that. There's so many ways to like it's really important in this industry to stay grounded and have a real grasp on like what life is, because I think a lot of people just, like the champagne has an effect, your head just kind of goes out the window. Like it does, it has an effect.
There's not many jobs that are so, you know, self-focused. Right. Like you are your entire business. Yeah. And even like Freddie, who's amazing, and like, you know, who I'll met,
tell him
is incredible, and like is an award-winning director and just put out a feature film, and like photography is amazing, and he is as much, you know, probably a part of the blog as you are.
Yeah, if not,
but
equal parts.
Like, but as an influencer, it's, you know, I think there's like some brain rot that happens with when you're sitting here, right, and we're filming this, and you know right now there are people telling you on Instagram how great you are. People are being like, you're so beautiful, you're amazing, I love this. They're DMing you saying you're such an inspiration. Like that. She's like, wait, let me check.
1 minute. I'll be right back.
That doesn't happen to, you know, like that's not
normal
something
people.
That's not something I get, but like I put a video up yesterday and got like 100 DMs about it, and it's exciting. It takes over your day because you're just like, oh, I could just check my phone and somebody else is saying how great I am. Like it's just, if you do that for years, that has to change you.
It does.
How do you stay grounded?
It's this app.
What?
It's an app. I have an app, and it's called the Calm app. Okay. And I use it for daily meditation. Okay. For mindfulness and gratitude. And it's like my daily mantra. And there's also a lot of interesting people that they bring on to kind of, like not TED Talk, but they have master classes on this thing. And one of them was a professor of psychology who was talking about social media and about screen time. And so I ended up going to school for marketing. I was going to go for psychology, but then I realized that I didn't want to be a therapist after like an internship that just went awry. Right. But psychology is a way that I ground myself to kind of understanding like the bigger picture That's definitely a way that you can ground yourself, is by like studying the process of what you're doing and being aware of like literally staring at your screen for like 8 hours a day,
Right.
and what that's doing to you. They were saying that there was a study done with a group of high school students where they could either go over to the corner of the room and put their finger on something that would give them an electric charge,
Yeah.
or they could sit without their phones for an hour. And they all went over to the corner and electrocuted themselves instead of sitting without their phones.
You gotta get that Margot and Me content, you know?
It was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yes,
Totally sidetracked.
it's a scary thing, and I think that like having something that can be bigger than yourself is important.
What if it went away tomorrow? How
Right.
would you feel, James?
Well, I mean, poor.
How would you feel?
You know, I wouldn't have a company.
Poor. Yeah. Well.
I don't know if that's a question we have to answer, because it's not going away.
No,
Right?
I know, but
in its current iteration,
Yeah.
it will not last like this forever.
No.
But there are always going to be influential voices who help shape where culture is going, help shape what people want to buy, where they want to go on vacation, what
Yes.
they want to eat. That has existed since language has existed.
For
And
sure.
it's manifested itself in a lot of different forms, and businesses always crop up around it.
Yeah.
Magazines,
Mhm.
television, radio, all of these things had their kind of moment, and still are things.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think influencers are going anywhere.
I don't either.
Right? And
People always ask me that question. They're like, "What's next?" I'm like, "I think we have a minute to answer that.
yeah,
I don't think it's going anywhere soon."
that's the other thing with you. You don't do you don't do as much sponsored content as you could. True or false?
True.
Okay. Is there like a level that you try and keep it at? Are you
Yeah.
conscious of like,
Yes.
that's too much?
Yeah. For a few reasons. One, because I genuinely want to be honest about everything that I'm talking about, and I don't think that it's humanly possible to have a sponsored content every single day and to genuinely be able to, like, for example, like beauty products, like we have a very strict policy. Like I have a month where I like need to test the product and like make sure that like I can honestly speak about it. And if I were to take on a beauty campaign once a week, which, trust me, it comes my way,
Right.
it wouldn't be genuine, and people wouldn't buy the product, which is the end goal. We want to sell product, right?
I'll give you a round of applause for that. Yeah.
So
That-
I have to stay honest. So I have to hold myself accountable. The other thing is we want to make sure that everything that we do speaks to the brand. And so if, I don't know if I want to mention like brand names, but like I've mentioned it before in an interview, so I don't see why not. But I had Just Fab, like when I first started blogging, shoes come to me and they were like, we'll give you this massive campaign. And I was like blown away, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is crazy. But I want to position myself as luxury. So I know that if I do this, I will not get the brands that I want. And I had to look that opportunity in the eye and say, I cannot do that. It was very hard to do, because it's like when you're first starting out, you want to take everything that you can get. And then a few months later, Jimmy Choo came knocking on the door, and had I taken the Just Fab shoe discount line, I probably would not have gotten the luxury brand, campaign that I wanted. So it's so strategic in every single decision that you make.
Right.
Yeah,
and I think that would be a hard thing to turn down.
Yeah.
And I think that people now, I think the reason I asked you when you started about the money, if you were chasing money, because so much of this show, so many of the questions that come in are like, when can I start making money? And like, it's so foreign for me, because obviously this whole business is getting influencers paid. We love that. But like when I started on the internet, and when you started, that just wasn't the motivation.
No.
And so
Right.
it was about, could you imagine if I could work with Jimmy Choo? Like that
Right.
was,
That's
that was so cool to work with these
Yes.
amazing brands. It wasn't like, how am I getting paid?
How am I getting paid? And if I wanted that, I would have taken the Just Fab job.
Yeah.
But that's you have to determine like very early on if that's what you want to be doing. If you want to be creating a brand with longevity, or if you want to, you know, they say like about artists and about celebrities, like, do you want to be a sellout? Like, there's a lot of people that just sell out really quick and like do like, you know, the product shots.
Yeah.
And, you know, just do whatever comes their way because they want to make money. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
To each their own, different folks, different strokes.
You know, you said before that you try and keep sponsored posts to a minimum. Have you turned down other deals that would allow you to, you know, start a shoe line, start a this, start a that? Is that something you've thought about?
And I would, don't get me wrong, like I would love to. I think that, you know, it's hard because I don't want to like pigeonhole myself. It's like, I would love to do something like that, but I want to make sure that it's like the absolute right opportunity because like as like an individual, like my policy is always under promise and over deliver. Like it breaks my heart when something doesn't go to plan, you know, and like I'm an Aquarius, I can take things personally. Like this is not the industry to be in for me. Like it's a daily struggle. But I like really try and like, you know, I want to make sure like the right opportunity comes my way. And like I see people on fire, like right now, Mariana Hewitt with Summer. Oh my God. Like literally #1 bestseller on Sephora.
Yeah.
Dying.
Crazy.
Something Navy, her line at Nordstrom's and the contract that she just got for that.
Crazy.
Killing it.
Yeah.
The right time.
Yeah.
It's timing. Everything comes down to timing. And everything has to happen at the right time, and you can't force anything to happen. So, you know, in all honesty, nobody's approached me about that. So I'm not going to go banging down doors being like, give me a deal, when clearly if somebody wants to bring something my way, they will, and I will be all ears. But until then, I'll just continue doing what I'm doing, you know?
And how hard is that patience? I mean, you talked earlier before we started filming about, you know, FOMO and all that. And it's, look, in the startup space, I see people who are doing really well, and I want to be happy for them, and I am, but then like there is 10% of me that's like,
Damn it.
yeah, like why not me? Yeah, like why not me? Like why are they getting all this success? You know, and it's hard, especially when you're so invested in what you do.
Yeah.
It is hard to separate those emotions of like being happy for someone and being jealous. And so, yeah, how do you
I feel like
how do
you're
you
gonna hate me
manage
for
those
saying
things?
this.
No.
But like, I don't know if it's the way my parents raised me, but like, I genuinely like don't feel jealousy. Like it's not a thing that I feel like I inherently have as a human. Like I think that sometimes it will come off to people as like almost like being fake, because people are like, well, she's like so happy all the time. How can that possibly be the case? But like, it feels like wasted energy to me. Like jealousy or, okay, so FOMO, for example, yeah, like I'll get FOMO for sure, but that I don't look at as jealousy. FOMO is like, oh man, I wish I was there.
Yeah, and sometimes that does fuel you to like, oh, I want to be there next year. How do I get there?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I remember when like the Luisa Via Roma trips were huge.
Oh my
right?
God.
Like if you got on one of those,
yes.
that was the big deal. And they'd always have the 200-person table.
Oh my God.
And I'd be like, I want to be at that dinner.
I want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it can drive you to be like, okay, how do I get there? Right?
And that's
like,
what I feel.
Who do I have to meet?
That's what I feel is more of that than like like this bitterness.
Yeah.
So I always feel this like drive to be like, okay, so like how can I align myself to be there next year or next season or do this? It's all about setting yourself up. And like if things are meant to be, they're meant to be. And if they're not meant to be, like that's what's meant to be, is that not being meant to be, you know? You
have had a consistent point of view that has evolved and certainly grown, but you've had that point of view since I followed you 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago probably. And you talked a bit about staying off of Instagram. Tell the people about that.
All right, people. Here's how it goes. No, I find that we can consume ourselves very easily with a lot of things that are mindless. And scrolling through my Instagram feed is personally one of the things that I find mindless because it evokes a lot of things that aren't what I want to be doing. One of which is being creative. When I scroll through Instagram, I'm not being creative. I'm not being innovative. I'm not spending my time doing anything but looking at what other people are doing. And so what I've started to do is actually, like, this is like a recent like transition for me. I'm training myself. Basically on my phone, I replaced where my Instagram icon is, and I replaced it with my Pinterest icon. And so now I just go to Pinterest and I just pin things. And I've been like a pinning machine lately because instead of scrolling, just mindlessly scrolling, and like people will call me out on it, like my family especially. Yeah. Like my dad will be like, "What are you doing over there? You're just like, you're not even looking at it." I'm like, "Trust me, I'm looking. I'm taking in everything." So it's like kind of switching gears a little bit to find sources of inspiration like here and there. And that's what I found through Pinterest. I'm like waiting for something else to pop up that'll give me some more inspiration. But yeah, it's tough because I really want to be like supportive to people, and obviously my peers in the industry, I like love these girls and guys, and I want to be liking every photo and commenting on everything, and so does the Instagram algorithm.
Right.
They want me liking, commenting everything.
Yeah.
But it's just not humanly possible if I want to continue growing as an individual, which is my priority. I want to grow as an individual. I want to grow on Instagram, but like I would much prefer to like grow myself and continue to be creative than to like focus solely just on my Instagram.
So that's actually interesting. How do you think about your like community of readers? Because I think there are people who have very close relationships with them, and they answer every DM, every comment, every question, every email, everything. There's other people that are like, I'm just putting this stuff into the world,
and like,
just
taking it.
We don't have, maybe you don't get to have a relationship with me.
Yeah.
Where do you sit?
Okay, so emails, I respond to every single email I get. Blog comments, I respond to every blog comment. YouTube comments, I respond to every single YouTube comment. Instagram is where it gets a little tricky. There's so much out there, and now with the algorithm, you don't know when people are commenting on like old posts. So when I post a photo, I dedicate, like, it's literally like, I'm like, okay, I'm about to post a photo, 30 minutes, I'm going dark. I'm like putting my phone, like nobody's calling me, Freddie, don't talk to me, I'm engaging. Whoever's liking my photo, I'm liking their photos back. I'm commenting on their photos because that's part of the thing. You come and like my photo and commented on my stuff, I need to be going and doing the same. It's like this thing that I've been doing for a while now, probably like.
So you like block it out. You're like, this 30 minutes, I'm plugged into this phone.
Yeah. I like set my alarm.
Yeah.
I like have a trigger and it's like, boom, okay. Done.
Yeah.
All right. If you comment after that, I'll get to it, but like not immediately. But I do find that it helps my engagement for sure. So it's not only like engaging with my readers, but like I honestly, like, people will screenshot when I like their posts or if I comment on it, and then they'll put it in their stories and they'll be like, oh my God, and it's like, it makes me smile ear to ear. Like knowing that people, that just one little like can make somebody's day. Like, why would I not put that energy out into the world? You know? What
about DMs?
Direct messages?
Are you answering them?
What are those?
You just have to get so many.
Yeah, I do.
And a lot of them you want to answer.
Yeah.
But it's like
you open the floodgates.
You're not asking me a question.
Yeah.
Or you're like, if they're just like, oh my God, I love this so much, you're so great, and it's just like, thanks. Do you just ignore those and answer the questions?
Yeah, so it's more specific questions, direct questions that I get, I'll respond to. Otherwise, what I'll do is, like, sometimes I'll do blocks of like Q&As, which I know is very popular. A lot of people do Q&As, where I'll screenshot. But like, if it doesn't take up too much of my time, and when I'm in an Uber or something, I'll just like sit and respond to like a bunch of DMs. And you like, once you allow somebody into your inbox,
they're there.
They're there for good.
Yeah.
So then I get confused. I'm like, wait, are you a friend?
Right.
I'm like, wait, no, are you a
Because
friend?
it's not showing up in the
confused.
what's the private, what's the one? It's
must be approved requests.
Yeah, message requests.
Yeah. So once you open up a conversation with somebody, you have to be okay with being responsible for getting back to them.
Right.
And like currently, I have 2 direct messages. One from you.
There we go.
Did you at me?
Yes.
And then one from like a brand.
Yeah.
But I have a generous amount of
You've got the
message
99
requests. Yeah, the 99 plus.
99 plus.
99 plus. You've got to, because a lot of them are random. Yeah.
YouTube, you've been on it for a bit.
Yes. We launched a year and a half ago.
What's different there? I mean, you are killing it on blogs. You're killing it on Instagram. You started YouTube. You have to build it. Like, what's been a learning curve there? Are you excited by it? Do you love it? Are you just doing it to try and get better at it?
I realized that I like video and I like creating video content, and I don't know why I wasn't doing it before. I guess honestly, I didn't have the team to do it before, and then I found somebody who would like do it, and I was like, whoa, you're great at this, and like we work really well together. So boom, here it is. I really got into it because I just wanted to show that I could also do video. I think that video is extremely important in our space, and being on camera is extremely important, and you need to be able to like, be presentable and go out there and do it. Our approach to it was a bit different. YouTube content tends to be more like talking to camera, and that's not organic for me. So when I was going into it, I was like, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna make this feel organic to Margot and me? How am I gonna keep it feeling elevated to the brand without it kind of feeling YouTube-y? And the way that I did that was more of these like editorial tutorials where I did a lot of like voiceovers to more of these like cinematic moments, and the feedback that we got and the reaction that we got was just insane. I mean, like in a year and a half, we have almost 75,000 subscribers, and I still can't get it straight. Subscribers on YouTube. And I get so much crossover too. Like people follow me on Instagram and they're like, when are you uploading your next video? And I'm like, shit. I don't know. They're out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's you have definitely, I think, gotten traction faster than a lot of fashion influencers I've seen try and do it.
Yeah.
I think some of it's just like commitment to doing it. A lot of people like can do 3 videos and like, here's my vacation, but like you're like out there putting.
Well, that was it. So for the first year, I made a goal to myself. I said from the day that I launched to the day that I'm done, or not done, but like basically gave myself 1 year. I said if I'm going to commit to this, because it's a financial investment. Like it's a lot of money to produce video content, and to have a team, and so I gave myself a year. I published a video every single Thursday for 1 year. And I think that really helped. I mean, talking about the algorithm and all of that, you really have to stay on top of the content that you're producing when you're on YouTube. Yeah. So I think that kind of helped me. And then a few referrals, like I'm on a handful of people's, like, people we love.
Check this out.
Yeah.
Well, listen, if you people made it to, oh my gosh. Come on, pour it, Jenny.
No!
Thank you. We're just going to kill the bottle as we kill the show.
Yeah.
If you've made it this far and you don't follow Jenny at Margot and Me, I don't really know what to say to you. I'm sure you guys all know her. She's incredible. Thank you so much for taking the hour, killing our bottle, and sharing some knowledge. Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Margot and Me. Check this out. Yeah. Incredible. Thank you so much for taking.
Man, I wish I was